Happy Saturday, everybody. How's everybody doing? Welcome back into another edition of Prime Sports World. We're going to be breaking down the NBA Finals, and we're going to be talking about Mr. Kenny Atkinson getting hired by the Charlotte Hornets. I think that happened on Thursday, but we have not talked about it here on the crossover, so we're going to be breaking down that decision. I've been David Huppin. Right there is Mr. TJ Hopkins. If you're looking for consistent content on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, you've come to the right place. Prime Sports World goes live 6 times a week, bringing you the most up-to-date content we can. And if you like, please like, share, and subscribe to the show. And I am going to share the StreamYard link in the chat of all of those places. So if you wanted to join us and talk some NBA basketball, please feel free to do so. As I mention in every show, though, please keep your comments semi-PG. Because we do not want to get in trouble by the powers that be that is Facebook or YouTube or Twitter. But yeah, happy Saturday, TJ. How are you, man? I know you're just saying you were playing a game there. What game are you playing?
Assassin's Creed Origins.
Ooh,
yeah,
right.
Ancient Egypt. So, and it's Saturday, so I can officially, drink to the weekend. So
there you go. I only have water in my cup, but I'm still going to enjoy it.
More power to you.
Yeah, I'm going to like semi-camping today.
What the hell is semi-camping? You're either going camping or you're not.
Well, so we're going to like a campground, but there's like like you rent out a cabin and you stay in the cabins as opposed to like, the tent and all that stuff.
Okay.
So it's like semi-camping because you're still out in the wilderness, but you're not like in the wilderness. Like you're in a cabin in the wilderness. Hopefully it goes better than that movie did. If you have not seen that movie, it is an excellent flick. Cabin in the Woods.
Cabin. I thought you were talking about like Cabin Fever, which was also.
No, also, yeah. I hope it goes better than that too. So for sure. But yeah, we are all tied up in the NBA Finals, 2 games apiece. Both of these teams split their home 2 home games in a row. Let's talk about them a little bit. Celtics win Game 3 behind a dominant performance on the glass and in the paint, out rebounding the Warriors 47-31, and they dominate paint, scoring 52-26. Game 4 goes to the Golden State Warriors, and Steph Curry erupts for 43 points in this game. Still questions over the officiating in this series. A lot of questionable calls, especially in the last 2 games, where the fouls were called, where you watch the replay, it's like, what is happening? What is that call? Tatum still struggling to field so far in the series. Jaylen Brown has vastly outplayed him in this series. And then for the Warriors side of this, really a lack of consistent scoring from the Warriors outside of Curry. If Curry doesn't have it going, this team really seems to struggle. Just analysis over the last 2 games and what we think what's going to be going on moving forward.
Oh, well, first and foremost, I called this series being split after 4 games, 2-2. Now it turns into a best of 3, right?
Yep.
I think it's important to point out that each team is undefeated after a loss. So if Golden State, so that tells me that Boston is going to win Game 5, right? Golden State's going to win Game 6. Golden State's going to win Game 6, and then Boston's going to close them out in 7. Like look at each team has throughout the whole entire playoffs, not just this round, the entire playoffs, right?
Yeah, but Golden State hasn't really been pushed to a Game 7 or anything in any series.
That's not the point. Like no matter. They lost the game in the first round, right? They won the next one. They lost a couple games to Memphis. They won the next one. They lost a couple games to They lost 1 game to Dallas. They won the next one. They've lost games to Boston. They won the next one, and vice versa, right? The only time Boston didn't lose a game was the first round. Other than that, they lost a game to Philly. They won not Philly.
Milwaukee.
No, who's about? Milwaukee. They won the next one. They lost a game to Miami. They won the next one. So far, the pattern has continued. To your point about the officiating, I was talking to my cousin on Facebook, and she was like, it was about Draymond Green. I'm like, hey, this is the precedent, right? This is what This is the new norm, right? They've allowed it. They can't all of a sudden just go in and switch it up now because this is their doing. This is their bed. They made it. They have to lie in it. So when you see the little, like you said, like when we see the ticky tack stuff not get called, or we see a hard foul not get called, the refs' hands are kind of tied behind their backs because they let so much go on.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But
at this point of the series,
like I just want the calls to be right. Like I wish I know it slows down the game, but like on some of those calls that are clearly like phantom foul calls, like I want to see that reviewed and like get that call right. And the stuff where like that Marcus Smart foul where he basically sets a moving screen, and then Klay Thompson has to go around him and like gets into the path. I can't remember who was even taking the shot at this point. I think it was Jaylen Brown, but that's not a foul on Klay Thompson. That's a for sure moving screen. Like, how do you not call that? Like, it has to be like it's just the officiating in this series has to get better, and the officiating in the NBA as a whole needs to get better. Like you have like the all-seeing eye who can like make calls from the booth and stuff, and like I just want these calls to be correct. And like phantom foul calls where literally nobody touches them and yet it's still a foul. I don't like that. That's not the kind of stuff that I want to watch when I'm watching NBA basketball.
Well,
like I just don't want to see it.
That kind of goes like we could go tit for tat with them missing calls because if I'm like we saw the play where Derek White is driving to the basket and Kevon Looney does absolutely nothing but just stand there with his arm straight up.
Are you talking about the spin move? The spin move they got in the end one?
No. I'm talking
that wasn't a foul either. But
I'm talking about the one he's driving to the basket and Kevon Looney just meets him straight up, and Derek White drew a foul. Like that wasn't a foul because Kevon Looney just went straight up. But if you look at if that's a foul, but Steph Curry is allowed to drive to the basket and extend that forearm to stop Al Horford from getting any momentum from blocking the shot, that's a foul too. Then, like you gotta call that. All right, so we can literally go. We can like it's a dangerous game that we playing. All right, so it's simpler than the refs. Like you either call it tight or it's a free for all. Like no, you have to find that happy medium.
I mostly agree with you on that. I just wish we have the technology in place. I phantom foul calls. It's just stuff that bothers me. Like I just don't like watching basketball and stuff like that. Let's also talk about in Game 4. Draymond Green benched for the majority of the fourth quarter. What are your thoughts of that?
No, hey, that's Steve Kerr being a coach.
Yeah, right? I mean, Draymond Green's been wildly inefficient. 1 for 7 from the field in this game, 1 for 4 in the game before that, including a foul out. I mean, yeah, he's been not good in this series at all.
And I am so sick of people going to bat for him. I mean, like I respect it, but he does the things that don't show up on the scoreboard. Well, God damn it, I need him to start showing up on the scoreboard.
Right? Yeah. For him to have, I think he's averaging like 3 points.
3 points is like, bro. But he's averaging X amount of rebounds, X amount of steals and blocks, bro. When Robert Williams I'm gonna get to this. When Robert Williams is on the court and at the same time as him, Draymond Green is non-existent. He doesn't get a rebound. He don't get no blocks. Robert Williams is sunning Draymond Green. Point blank. Period.
Rob Williams has been awesome in this series. Like he's legit been awesome.
We'll get to this. Like if Boston somehow wins this and Jaylen Brown keeps it up, right? Jason Tatum's not going to win Finals MVP. It's going to be between Jaylen Brown and Robert Williams for the Celtics, in my humble opinion.
I agree with you on that. That's how important Robert Williams has been. I mean, I'm not sure what he's averaging rebound wise in this series, but like you could tell. Like when Robert Williams is on the floor, they don't box him out. Like I was at
this, they can't.
Like they don't even try. Like they like it's lazy basketball on this part of the Golden State Warriors. Like Robert Williams is a fine player, but he's only 6'9", 237 pounds. You should be able to box him out. Like you have Kevon Looney in the game, if you have Draymond Green, those guys have a reputation for being hard-nosed players. Box them out. Don't let them get those rebounds. Like it's just ridiculous.
But like that just speaks to him being that much more athletic than those two guys. right? Like he is that much more athletic than Draymond Green and Kevon Looney that it's almost like it's it's almost like if I'm a Draymond Green, it's like I almost ask the question of what do you want me to do? Right? I can't out jump him. I can't out physical him because at this point I think Robert Williams is stronger than Draymond Green on the fact that he's younger.
Yeah,
Right?
I agree with you on that. I think Robert Williams has kind of asserted himself as being the dominant post player in this series, and yeah, it's been
the only thing that Draymond can rely on is his IQ to outsmart Robert Williams, and so far, that's not working.
Right?
Yeah,
I mean, Draymond Green's been basically unplayable in this series. Like it's been for real. Like he's been detrimental to his team. He's been detrimental to I don't know, man. I've never been the biggest Draymond Green fan, but he's being wildly outplayed in this series by Robert Williams.
Robert Williams is averaging 10 boards a game in this finals, basically.
Yeah,
he's the leading rebounder, right? He's the lead rebounder in this series. He's 7 and basically 7 and 10 in the finals.
And if I'm Golden State, that second point that I put on the stat sheet, they have not gotten a consistent offensive punch from anyone not named Steph Curry in this series. Everybody else has been extremely wishy-washy. When they take Steph Curry off the floor, they struggle mightily to score and get efficient offense. Steph Curry's playing 41 minutes in this series. Andrew Wiggins is playing 43. Do people call him Andy? I was for the first half of this game, and this guy kept calling him Andy Wiggins. I was like, dude, people don't call him Andy.
Who was calling him Andy Wiggins?
This dude, I don't know his name. I got free pizza at this bar for the first half of the game, and that's why he was calling him Andy over and over again.
Was he a Warriors fan? Was he a Kansas fan?
He was a Warriors fan.
Okay, I think it's safe to say no Warriors fan anywhere calls Andrew Wiggins. I bet his own family don't call him Andy.
I agree with you on that 100%.
Yeah, Steph Curry, I like him. And what's crazy is they asked Klay Thompson his thoughts of being down 2-1 prior to last night's game. And he's like, we've been down 2-1 before. This is giving me eerie vibes to 2015. Well, let's stop you right there, Klay, because one, the opposing team that you're playing, they're not missing their top. They're not missing their top second and third player, right? Boston's fully healthy, whereas and you're fully healthy. So how does this remind you of just because that's the only similarity? You're down 2-1. The only difference is the opposing team's best player is not going to run out of gas because it's just him and a bunch of the island of the misfit toys, right? Jason Tatum is struggling, yes, but Jaylen Brown is holding his own. Klay, while you're the one that's struggling, you've had one good game out of 4.
Yeah, I mean, he was only good in like one half of that game.
One half. You had a good half.
Yeah, like he's really struggled to shoot the basketball during this series. I think in game 2 he was shooting at like 20% from the field and like 13% from the 3-point line. In this game, in game 4, a game the Golden State won, 7 for 17, 4 of 10 from 3. It's just not going to get it done. Like you need more production from him. I mean, Andrew Wiggins 7 of 17. Draymond Green 1 of 7. Jordan Poole 6 of 13. Jordan Poole played fine in this game, but
he did. But it's still again like. Outside of a game where the Warriors blew it open, where he was literally hitting everything, and last night Jordan Poole has been non-existent. Iguodala really hasn't played since the first game.
Yeah, he's been hurt. He's been hurt, so I don't expect to see Iguodala again in this series.
Otto Porter is making plays here and there. He hits a shot occasionally.
He's only effective on. You can only have him on the floor if he's hitting baskets. Like otherwise, he doesn't give you much of anything else. Like his stat line in game 4 in 15 minutes of the game, 0 of 2 from the field, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 1 personal foul, 2 points in the game. Like you can't have him on the floor if he's going to be. That's going to be a stat sheet.
Gary Payton Jr. is really just out there for defensive purposes only. Be a nuisance, be an ankle biter, be annoying. He did have a good play where he had a wide open corner three, and he saw Steph coming off the curl. And he just did that little drop pass and set a screen for Curry to get a wide open corner three. My reaction after my initial reaction after game four was the Celtics jagged this game more than Golden State won it, because there was from the 7:32 stretch in the fourth quarter to the end of the game, Boston scored 6 points, and that wasn't just good defense on the Warriors. That was Boston being dumb, right? It was 97-94 for like 3 minutes, and they just came down and they settled for three after three after three that they missed. They missed those threes, and then on top of that, Ime Udoka does the dumbest thing he could have done, which was pull Robert Williams off the floor, which Draymond Green should have been like, thank God. Because, like, it was like, thank God, because what happens is, so you're down 97-94. Golden State, after several exchanges of missing baskets, Golden State comes down. Curry hits another three. So now it's 194. You call timeout. After that timeout, you get Horford a corner three, which he hits. It's 197 with like a minute and some change left. Then what happens? You need a stop, right? You need a stop. This is what happens. You get the stop, but you don't get the rebound. Why? Because Robert Williams is off the floor, which allows Draymond Green to chase down the rebound, and he does a slip pass to Kevon Looney to put them up 5 with 45 seconds left. And that's the game. So why was Robert Williams not on the court during that stretch? I have no idea. Ime Udoka outcoached himself.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Boston sometimes in this series has fallen in love with the 3-point shot, but like their biggest X factor in this series is that they're just more physical than this Warrior team. Like they can literally, like Marcus, like you go 1 through 5, they just have bigger bodies at all of those positions. Like Marcus Smart's a bigger player than Steph Curry, Jaylen Brown. Yeah, weight-wise, they're both 6'3", but I mean, Marcus Smart is built a little bit different than Steph Curry, obviously. But yeah, I mean, they have, for sure. Like they have athleticism across the board. I mean, like they have bigger bodies that they can use, and like their biggest strength of this series is that they're just bigger and more physical. And they have, Derek White has been awesome in this series too. Like their bench production, for the Boston Celtics has been wildly better than the Golden State production. Let me ask you. So moving into Game 5 and 6 and 7, who needs to step up for each team in order for them to win the NBA title?
If I'm Steph Curry,
outside of Jaylen Brown and Steph Curry, because they've already been good in this series.
So what I'm going at is, like, if I'm Steph Curry, I pull Clay and I basically pull the team aside and say, hey, goddamn, like, we can't keep waiting till the third quarter to flip that switch, right? We can't keep doing that, because they almost lost the third quarter last night. This is the closest third quarter they've had since the final started in games that Golden State has won, right? They only outscored them by 6, 30-24. That was the third quarter. So if I'm Steph Curry, you got to talk to this team and like, hey, stop acting like it's cool. We got this. We got it in the bag. Stop that. Like, Clay, I get it. You can get hot at any given moment. Same thing with Jordan Poole. But until you get hot, I don't want to hear nothing. Right? The only one who should be bragging and talking with their chest out right now is Steph Curry.
Yeah, he's the only Golden State Warrior player that's been remotely good in this series.
Like Draymond shouldn't be. I was telling my homie on Twitter last night, Draymond talks too much to be a dependent. Like, he literally had the ball at the top of the key countless times, and Robert Williams didn't even make an effort to go out there like, you can have that, partner. Like, I'm here to tell you, there is no greater show of disrespect when you have, as a basketball player, when you have a wide open shot and the opposing team is just like, you can have that. Because do you know how much that messes with you psychologically? Even playing up at like the rec, you know how much that messes with you psychologically? Because if you miss that shot, you prove them right.
Yeah. Or it's like, oh, he plays for us kind of mentality. Like
Yeah, like
that phrase. Something about that just drives me crazy, dude. Like,
and on the Boston side, yeah, if I'm Jaylen Brown, hey, Robert Williams, hey, bro, keep doing what you're doing. You have been spectacular. You have been Al Horford. They thinking about you. Because when Al Horford gets that ball on those wing and corner threes and the top of the key three, he is letting it ride, no hesitation
man,
whatsoever.
he shoots like a set shot now. I don't know if he's always shot like that, but it's something I've noticed over the last since in this playoff series.
It's a quicker release.
He's like literally shooting like a setter shot. Like he catches it up top and then he just shoots it. Like there's no bring it back. Yeah, it's interesting.
No, that's what they worked on. It's a quicker because remember how he used to shoot? It was way slower. He would have to bring it down and then pop it back up. Like now it's catch, shoot, catch. Yeah. It is and the thing I love about it is he keeps shooting. Right? Make or miss, he's gonna keep shooting. And I love that about it, right? Keep them honest. Because if I'm up top and if I'm wide open for a three, that draws Kevon Looney away from the basket so he can't rebound. That draws Draymond Green away from the basket because they can't rebound. Because they're so worried about me hitting the shot. I don't have to hit it consistently. I just have to be a threat. Right? Jason Tatum, wake up, man. You can't keep tweeting this Mamba mentality and texting Kobe-ish if you ain't showing up, bro. Right? Like, no, Kobe would have had this up 3-1. Like, Kobe would be going back to Golden State trying to close in 5.
This year should be. I mean, this year should be over. Like Boston should have this series already wrapped up.
Like honestly, and I don't want to hear anything about Warrior championship mentality because in actuality, it's only 4 guys that actually contributes that was on those championship teams.
Well, I mean, Kevon Looney's moved. Kevon Looney's been
five.
Kevon Looney was on those teams too.
Iggy, Looney, and the big 3, right? Jordan Poole ain't got no championship DNA.
No,
neither
does
Gary Payton. Neither does Gary Payton Jr. I'm sure Bielitsa don't. Otto Porter damn sure don't.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, he's got some playoffs experience. He was on those Wizards team that went to the playoffs, but other than that, yeah, he ain't got nothing.
Wiggins don't.
So do you think whoever wins Game 5 wins this series? Yes or no?
I think so.
I agree with you on that. Who do you think it's more important for that wins Game 5? Do you think it's more important that Boston wins Game 5 or the Warriors?
Absolutely, because Boston has to know back in the back of their head, like, yo, we let one get away. We had this game, and we let it get away, right? Because if Golden State wins Game 5, now here comes all the talk. Game 6, Clay coming to close them out. Come on, man. That's another thing, bro. Like, hey, like Clay, you can't keep waiting till one game for this one particular game to play like the best shooter in the like you can't ever, bro. Like, because if I'm Steph Curry, like, bro, I'm tired of this waiting till Game 6 shit, bro. Like, excuse my language, like, because what happens if we run into a situation where we lose in 5 or we get swept? But I was waiting on Game 6 to get Clay going.
We'll revisit the NBA Finals here in a couple days. We're gonna wait till after.
I'm sorry, but like after 4 games, we got a team that's supposed to be the most composed is the Warriors, right? They tweeting about fans.
Yeah.
They talking about fans. Like, bro, do we not have to show the video? It's already been viral, bro. The video of the one Golden State Warriors fan calling LeBron out his name, like the most disrespectful thing you could call a man. A PAD.
I mean, this is the same fan base that threw garbage at Charles Barkley. Like, come on.
This is the same fan base or team whose part owner. We didn't even know he was the part owner. Remember in 2019, he pushed Kyle Lowry, just straight up pushed him. We just thought it was a random fan. Like, no, this was the part owner. You know what his punishment? Oh, you can't go to no games for a year. What kind of punishment is that? But y'all worried about little kids talking about some FU Draymond. As long as they ain't saying nothing racial, which
Yeah.
if they were, we would have heard for sure. They ain't saying nothing about. They ain't saying nothing about your family. It's fine.
We'll come back and visit this series after game number 5, which is on Monday. Who do you think wins game number 5? Real quick.
Boston.
I'm gonna take Golden State. It's in the Chase Center, so I'll give Golden State to get game 5.
Okay, so it's funny that you say that because once you lose a game at home, like the home court advantage is non-existent. They're giving Boston a 51% chance of winning game 5.
So it's basically a pick 'em. I think we'll see.
It's a pick 'em.
And then another Golden State Warrior assistant hired during this coaching cycle. As we know, Mike Brown hired by the Sacramento Kings a few weeks ago. Now Kenny Atkinson hired as the next head coach of the Charlotte Hornets. He receives a 4-year deal from that squad. He replaces James Borrego, who was fired back in April after he got blown out in back-to-back play-in games. Atkinson was previously the head coach of the Brooklyn Nets for over 3 seasons, and overall has spent 9 seasons either as a head coach or an assistant in the NBA. Atkinson was picked for this job over Mike D'Antoni, who was the other front runner for this position. What do we think about this? Kenny Atkinson is the coach, and what do we think about this job, and like what are the building block pieces they have there? What decisions do you think are going to need to be made in the offseason?
Love it. Love the hire. Absolutely love it. Like if you remember before, Kevin Durant was there, but he just wasn't playing because he was recovering from the
Achilles.
Torn Achilles. That team, that Nets team with, and even when he lost Kyrie, that Nets team with Karis LeVert, I think Dinwiddie was still on that team, and those other guys, they played. They played.
They went to the playoffs that season. Basically, he inherited a Brooklyn Nets team that was in a full rebuild after trading away all their draft picks and all their assets. And
it's almost like it's almost like I'm mad that they traded for James Harden, because if they just stood pat with KD, Kyrie, LeVert, Dinwiddie, and the rest of those dudes, oh my God. Really? You had the firepower right there. You were good. You were set. You were good to go. And now you're talking about blowing things up in Brooklyn, but this is the perfect hire. This is the perfect hire for Charlotte, right? You got LaMelo, you got Rozier's a free agent, isn't he?
No, I think he signed an extension last summer, so I think he's going to be there for sure. Let me go ahead and pull up their books. Miles Bridges is for sure a restricted free agent.
So you got that dominant, like he's been linked to the Phoenix Suns. I don't know how that works.
Well, so it'd be a sign and trade for DeAndre Ayton of some sort. That's what I heard.
Hold on.
Like a double sign and trade would be PJ Walker. I can't remember who was the other guy in that trade. Let me take a look at their depth chart real quick. PJ Washington. There was somebody else. Somebody else involved in that conversation. So Miles Bridges, PJ Washington, and somebody. James Bouknight will be going to Phoenix for DeAndre Ayton. That's just one of the rumors, that's been floating around the internet. Scary Terry's locked up until 2025-26 season. Most of their key players are under contract. Gordon Hayward's got 2 years left on his deal at $30 million basically a season. Montrezl Harrell is a free agent. Miles Bridges, obviously, as I talked about, is a restricted free agent. Cody Martin is an unrestricted free agent. He's a fringe NBA player, I guess.
He's solid. He's a 3-and-D dude when the three is falling. Miles Plumlee, right? Miles Plumlee.
Mason. They have Mason.
Mason Plumlee.
They have the good one, the one that can pass.
They have the good Plumlee, brother. It all depends on what you take. So you have to ingratiate your coaching style with what you learned in Golden State and combine the two. Like now you have the team that likes to play kind of how Golden State likes to play, that up and down, Showtime kind of vibe. Like especially with LaMelo leading the break. That dude is so unpredictable on the break. As a defender, it's almost like, okay, he can either pass, he can full court lob this, he can pull up from 40, or he can make the defender fall and get to the cup and lay it in. Like there's so many options LaMelo Ball could do on the break. And this is one of those hires. This is one of those things where it's like, if you're if you're looking at the ownership career that has been for Michael Jordan, it hasn't been a good one. This is one of those times where it's like, all right, I think you got some good. I think you got the right one.
Yeah, and I think if he could install some of that defensive identity that Brooklyn had when he was there in Brooklyn, because this is one of the worst defensive teams in the NBA. Allowing 114 points per game, tied for 25th in the league. His every season that Kenny Atkinson was the head coach of the Brooklyn Nets, their defense efficiency went up. Taking them from 23rd in 2017 to 9th in 2020 when he finally quit that job. They have the Miles Bridges decision. Yeah, he's been linked to some different signing trades. Honestly, I think I'd probably just give him sign him to whatever his value is. I guess $20 million a year probably. It's probably roughly what he's probably should be worth. And then you have to install the defensive mindset. Like LaMelo Ball, I know you say the defense doesn't really matter, but he might be one of the worst on-ball defenders in the league. Him and Trae Young are like neck and neck for worst on-ball defender. It's for real. Like they might be one of the worst on-ball defenders in the league. So if you can instill that defensive identity that you used to have in the Brooklyn Nets when we were there, and you get your players to really buy in on the defensive side of the ball, because on offense they're fine. There's nothing that we need to talk about when it comes to the offensive side of the basketball. They can score they can score the rock, but they can't defend anybody. A cold.
It's almost like what Dallas had to do with Luka. Like, bro, just show the effort. Just show the effort, right? Like, don't act so easily beaten on a defender drive. Like, show effort. Like, help me help you, kind of thing. I had myself, and he muted him. Is he muted himself? And
I muted him, but anyways.
Oh, you mean but that's what he has to do. Like, that's what they have to instill in LaMelo. Like, yo, you don't have to be a lockdown defender, but if you just show consistent effort, they'll respect you more on the defensive end, because that helps us, right? That helps Mason Plumlee not have to leave his guy automatically and get beat for a drop pass for a dunk. So that, right?
That's all that defense really is. I mean, if you put consistent effort on the defensive side of the ball, you'll automatically improve. Like, so if they can instill, you take what you would in Golden State, you can learn like all that other stuff. This is the kind of stuff that you need to. Like, this is a good hire. Like, I actually think it's a really good hire. What do we think about getting him over Mike D'Antoni? You think it's a better hire than Mike D'Antoni would be?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I tend to agree with you on that.
Mike D'Antoni is one of those, like, no disrespect. Mike D'Antoni has forgotten more basketball than I will ever know. Right? But he's one of those rehashed names that we don't need to see anymore. What more about Mike D'Antoni's offense or system do we really have to see to make you think, hey, this one will work this time? This team will work. Like, this is the team that's going to get D'Antoni over the hump. No. Your opinion.
Welcome to the show. Your CEO of Prime Sports Boom, Mr. Israel Rivera. We are talking about Kenny Atkinson hired by the Charlotte Hornets. And then if you want to give your 2 cents real quick on the NBA Finals before we wrap up here.
Yeah, for sure. Came in a little late.
You're very low, by the way.
Am I low? Oh, no, it's all good here. Came in a little late. I've been talking about Kenny Atkinson for the last month or two. I think I mentioned him a few podcasts ago that he should be mentioned for a head coaching job, and rightfully so. I never really thought he got that fair shake in Brooklyn in a way. No, they moved on from him too fast to Steve Nash, and so I think that all the young pieces are there in Charlotte for him to develop. He's gonna bring a little bit of what the Warriors are doing there, and I mean, you got the right point guard to do it, right? LaMelo, he's got the pizzazz, he's got the flair. He's got everything. He's got the great point guard skills. He moves well without the ball, moves well with the ball. He's got a ball on a string. And you got Miles Bridges there. You got Terry Rozier there. You got a lot of talent there. It's just about with them. They're one of the worst defensive teams in the NBA. So it's about them buying in on that side of the court, right? Buying in on defense. Getting LaMelo to buy in on defense. Even Miles Bridges. The whole team. down to the centers. I mean, Plumlee's a great. He can block shots. I don't know if he's gonna be there next year, per se. But I mean, even he's kind of a wishy-washy defender. So that whole team.
He's under contract for next season, so
Yeah,
unless
that whole team.
they trade him, he's going to be on the team.
Yeah, that whole team needs to buy in on the defensive end, and Kenny Atkinson is a balanced coach, in my opinion. And then this is it's interesting. Steve Kerr has two assistants that are gonna be head coaches next year, right? So that's a testament to the Steve Kerr coaching tree. We're gonna start talking about that pretty soon, right? The Steve Kerr, you got Mike Brown, you got Kenny Atkinson, and then who's next, right? So
well, I think the reason people haven't been talking about it is because his assistants haven't been successful when they leave. So I think about it. Luke Walton sucked.
in Sacramento, yeah. Well, I mean, in
and in LA. Let's not forget he was in LA.
In LA, yeah, you're right, and in LA. But yeah, I mean, it's good when you have the Kevin Durant and the keys to the car, right? You can drive. You can drive that car, right? You can drive that car. But we got to start talking about the Steve Kerr coaching tree, huh? He's developed his assistant coaches and got them some head coaching jobs. Even though Mike Brown has been a successful head coach, even though Kenny Atkinson has been a head coach before the league, these guys have gotten a second chance under Steve Kerr, right? So yeah, big shout out to Kenny Atkinson. I think this is well deserving. I have no problems with this hire whatsoever. And then my 2 cents on the NBA Finals. Stephen Curry was absolutely ridiculous last night. And I was a little hypercritical of Wiggins because he wasn't, hitting his big shots, but he was doing everything else. He was defending.
Now grabbed what? 15 rebounds?
Well,
16 rebounds last night.
16 rebounds.
Career high in rebounds. The guy was working the glass. He was making all the extra plays that kind of don't really project on the stat sheet, right? So Wiggins, I was talking about crap. I was like, man, this could be his moment. And you know what? It kind of turned into his moment in that second half. He did a lot of little intangible things. Draymond Green, you know what? Hey, Mama's right. Mama came on Twitter and blasted him. Hey, when Mama says that you ain't playing right, you better get your butt up and play. My thing with Draymond, I don't want to say, stop doing your podcast and focus on the game. I just need Draymond to go back to being Draymond, right? If that means, okay, I'm gonna go into the gym tonight and I'm about to go and shoot a whole bunch of open threes. Because when he's making his open 3-pointers, like, he's gonna get them, and Boston is letting him shoot them. Then that keeps the defense honest. Then Al Horford and Robert Williams have to come, running out to him on a 3-point line, and then that'll open up the driving lanes. Because we all know, I saw that block that Horford had on Draymond, and I was like, well, if Draymond's hitting his threes, he gets to the cup, on Horford.
I mean, even if Draymond Green starts making shots in this series,
you live with that.
I'm not going out to him. I'm not gonna live with. I would much rather Draymond Green shoot the basketball than drive it and create offense for the Golden State Warriors that way. If he beats us because he hits 5 out of 10 threes, kudos.
Exactly.
Well, I don't think he's gonna shoot 10 threes, David. I don't think he's gonna shoot 10 threes. But I want him to at least, if he's shooting, if he's gonna be up for 4 or 5 of them, at least he can make 2 of them. Especially as wide open as he's been. And Klay stepped it up in that second half. Jordan Poole had a good end to the second quarter before he kind of ran into some foul trouble. That play with Curry to Gary Payton, I mean, I could watch that play all day on loop because that was just great basketball right there. And then it's a gutsy move by Steve Kerr to take Draymond Green, knowing that Draymond Green is playing poor, and I got to take out my defensive leader to shake things up and take him out for extended minutes. Steve Kerr, kudos to Steve Kerr for pulling that coaching move. And we all kind of talk about Steve Kerr. He got this great keys to the car. He got a good defensive team, and all he did was pick up the offense. He inherited a team from Mark Jackson, all that stuff. But no, he showed his coaching. He showed that he he can make those moves, and that was a bold move to do. Also, starting Otto Porter, I don't know how much the difference that made, but I mean, he tried to shake things up. He tried to shake things up a bit there, and I got to give it to Steve Kerr. He made some coaching adjustments in the second half, and then at the end of the game, Golden State play defense. That's what they need to do. String together possessions where you're playing defense the last 3-4 minutes and finish out possessions. Too many second chance buckets. Too many times where you're fouling, reaching in. That's why Boston had to. I can talk about the refs all day. They didn't give them calls on this, but the fact of the matter is that Golden State was doing a lot of reaching in, a lot of lazy defense, a lot of not finishing out possessions. And then on the Boston end, on the flip side, Boston, they were doing a great job 3 3/4 of the game. And then in the last 3-4 minutes, TJ said it, these guys are shooting threes. And you didn't need to do that. You didn't need to shoot threes. You needed to go to the cup. You could have kept the pressure on Golden State because flat out, Golden State can't take Tatum and Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart for that matter off the dribble. Like, they can't defend those guys off the dribble, and they got away from that. They got complacent. You saw the Boston team that struggled early on in the season, and those last 3-4 minutes, you saw the Boston team that struggled when they did lose in the playoffs. The complacency down the stretch, jacking up shots. And I got to give it to you. Robert Williams played his ass off in that game. I'll give it to him. And
he's been awesome. He's been awesome in this series.
He's been awesome. And I gotta say this: Golden State is 7-0 after a loss in the playoffs. Just like Boston hasn't lost back-to-back games in January. Something's gotta give. Something's gotta give here in this series, right?
Yeah.
Something's gotta give. Either somebody's gotta lose twice in a row, right? Golden State or Boston. So we're gonna see Game 5. Game 5 is a big game. Game 5, because that's gonna tell me everything right there. That's gonna if Golden State can beat Boston at home, which I think they should have won Game 1. They know that Game 1 is still in the back of their head. We gotta finish them off in the fourth quarter. I think Game 5, Golden State, that's a must-win for them. You know what I mean? Because if they let Boston go in and beat them, Game 7 is kind of, up in the air. I mean, now Boston.
I think it's
come into your home twice and beat you.
I think it's the other way around.
Well, no, I think it's the comfortability factor. If Boston beats Golden State in Golden State, right? And you're right. If Boston beats Golden State in Golden State, now they're comfortable. Now they're saying, hey, we could beat them at home. We already did it twice, So Golden State has to put their foot on their neck and beat them Game 5, and to win this game. So.
And yeah, we'll see how this thing plays out. We will be back here on Tuesday breaking down the NBA Finals again. Over the next 2 days, we're going to continue our season preview series. We're going to be doing the New Orleans Saints tomorrow and then the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Monday. You don't want to miss that content. Please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. Thank you very much for joining us. I've been David Hupp, and right there is Mr. TJ Hopkins and CEO of Prime Sports World joining us, Mr. Israel Rivera. Gentlemen, what we do here at the Prime, my friends?
We bring the heat.
We do. We bring the heat. And we will see you guys tomorrow. You guys all have a good day and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Peace out, guys.